being a delivery person, and so he was delivery boy for Domino's, and his name is gonna be Derek. So Derek was a Domino's person for a pizza driver. He was a pizza driver, and he ended up driving out because he got an order for. It was two people working that night at the store. He ended up getting an order for a large pizza and two pies. So he ended up driving out. It was a 15, 20-minute drive, longer than normal. And he gets to the road. The road, it's only like 2 houses, 3 houses on this road. It's very far out. It's about 15, 20 minutes from the normal town. It's probably, he said, probably about a mile or two out from the populated area. And he ended up getting up to the house. And how the driveway was the driveway was curved to the left, and it was woods blocking the house. So he ended up pulling onto the driveway, and since it was a fence there, like where the cars couldn't go, he had to get out and actually walk to the house, which is about, I want to say 200-300 feet, he said. And he ended up knocking on the door. He said no lights, no cars in the driveway, nothing like that. Nothing presumed somebody was home. He ended up knocking, and he knocked really loud one time, and the door popped open. Like the door, I presume the door handle did not work or something on that lines, or the door wasn't locked, one of the two, or actually both of them probably. And he said it was a very funky odor, more like smells like rotten eggs than anything. Rotten eggs and like rotten cheese, he said it would smell like. And he's like, well, nobody's here. I'll just head back to my car. I'll leave. So he walks down, kind of keeping his head on a swivel, thinking this is a little weird. Okay. He gets into his car, calls his boss up. And, well, it's the supervisor / boss. And he's like, hey, nobody answered the door. The door ended up popping open. Doesn't seem like anybody's home, such as. And he's like, and the supervisor, Tony, that's what his name's going to be for the story. So Tony ended up telling Derek to go back to the house and knock one more time. So he goes, takes the pizza, goes back to the house. Knocks. Doesn't hear anybody. Doesn't see anybody. The door's still open. But before, the door was only open about a creak. It wasn't open very far. It was only open about an inch. Like, the door barely just popped open. It was like a very small gap. When he goes back up, the door is wide open. And how the door is, it's like, he said it was pretty heavy. When he knocked, it's a very dense door. It's a very big, giant door, too. So to be open like that means somebody's there. So he stepped in with 1 foot, kept 1 foot outside the house, and he yelled, "Pizza, pizza! Anybody here?" And he ended up not getting a response. So he ended up just walking back to his car, keeping his head on a swivel, and got to his car, called his boss and back. Well, the door's wide open and nobody's there. I yelled, pronounced it was the pizza delivery guy. Nobody answered. Doesn't seem like anybody's home. The lights are off. It's a funky odor. And Tony's like, well, go knock again and just stay there for a couple minutes. So he goes, takes the pizza. This time, he's very, very cautious. He keeps his car is unlocked this time, ready to run because he feels like something's weird's gonna happen. That's his gut starts to get cramped up, and he gets a very bad vibe. Rightfully so. So he goes back to the door, knocks. This time he's knocking pretty damn loud. And when he gets there, he realized the door is closed now. And the door would swing into the house. So it's no way wind would actually do that. And he said it wasn't a very windy night. It was barely any wind. So he pounds on that fucking door. He pounds on it pretty loud. It sounded like this. And nobody answered. So he looked around, didn't see anybody, opened the door this time, looked in, looked out, didn't see anybody, so he goes back to his car. He's walking, keeping his eye on a swivel. And how the driveway was is, it was about a foot or so where it was grass. After that foot, it was woods. Woods for miles, he said. For miles. And when he was walking back, he noticed it was two people in the woods. So he picks up the pace, and he's almost to his car. He gets almost to his car where he's about to open his door and realize somebody's in the back seat. Somebody's in like the back side of the car, back seat area, laying down on the floor. So he realized, well, it's two people in the woods and somebody's in my back of my car. So he's like, fuck this shit. And he already has his phone, he already has his keys on him. So he full on sprints down the driveway, down like this road. And he probably makes it, he said 15 minutes down the road until he stopped and threw up. Or he called the 911 operator, which the 911 operator said it was going to be about 5 to 10 minutes for the cops to come out. And he's like, hurry up, I feel for my life. People are trying to kill me. And she asked him to stay on the line. He's like, okay. Midway through him calling, those people start walking down the road looking for him with a big, giant, booming flashlight you can see for miles away. And so he hangs up the phone. He's like, they're coming. Hangs up the phone and runs straight into the woods. He ended up running like 15, 20 feet in the woods where he ended up actually he fell into like I would say it's like where a water stream would run through the woods and it would make like a hole in the wood, in like the soil. It would be like kind of like a ditch, but it's not made by humans. It's just made by natural. And there was nothing inside the ditch, so he ended up hiding down in the ditch. And it's not a very deep ditch, but it works. So he ended up laying down, just silent he could be, covering his mouth. And he hears from a couple miles away, he hears the sirens blaring. So he sees the lights about to turn onto this road because you got a road, and it turns onto the road. You got the driveways of two houses on the road. And he ended up stopping the cops. The cops let him in the back of the cop car. They drive up to this house, and they search his car. They keep him in the back seat of the cop car locked so nobody can get to him. And they go into the house. They search the house. Nobody's there. They go across the street because that house looks like just like this one. Knocks on the door. Nobody's there. So they're like, okay, well, screw it. We'll go back to the car. Lets him out. He goes to start his car up, and the officer was like backing up, and his light hit his tire, and realized all 4 of his tires were slashed, and on the side of his car was scraped, "You're dead," on both sides with, I would presume, a knife or a key of some sort or something metal onto metal to curve, and it said, "You're dead," with his name. Thing about this is he didn't know anybody. He's very new to this town. He's only been working for this pizza shop for about 2 to 3 weeks as a driver. So it was kind of weird in that sense. And I think if I did something like that, I think I would quit. I don't think I would be ever a driver again. But he ended up staying with the job. He still works there to this day. And he had some creepy experience to this day, and now he carries a handgun in his car just in case anything like that happens. And he never will go knock on the door 3 times again. If they don't answer the first time, he walks away and brings the pizza back, which that boss actually ended up getting demoted because of what he did. So, more of the story is, don't go and knock on random doors in the woods. It's a little creepy.